was prepared, they had 109 cases and 20 deaths. Yes, they have confirmed this, and they said that this happened across 16 states of the Federation between 26th of February to 3rd of March. They disclosed, NCDC came out to disclose this in the latest situation report on their website for week 9 of 2024. And the report shows an increase in the confirmed cases from 96 in week 8 to 109 in week 9, with 8 new healthcare workers affected in the reporting week. From week 1 to 9, the country has recorded 682 total confirmed cases and 128 deaths, with a case fatality rate of 18.8%, which says indeed that a lot of work still needs to be done in preventing these cases. The affected states, according to the NCDC report, include Ondo, Bauchi, Edo, Benue State. We also have Ebonyi, Kogi, Kaduna, Taraba, and Enugu, as well as Delta, Jigawa, Adamawa, Anambra State, Rivers, Ogun, and Oyo. Of course, we're looking at 62% of all the confirmed cases coming out from Ondo, Edo, and Bauchi, while another 38% from 24 states with confirmed cases. Right, so the NCDC is putting this report out, and of course, they're calling for more care to be taken, especially as regards storage of food items, so that we don't get these cases, rising and increasing. Right, so these are our top stories for today. Ideally, we'll take 3, but because of the time that we have lost because of the fintech show, let's start with these 2, and then we'll see if we have time to take on another one. It's 0700 951 0000, 08095974869, and 08099930137. Let's get to the phone lines. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, Somi.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Abakar Ukwalenu from Okolada.
Good to have you here, sir. Go ahead.
We must appreciate the step taken by Mr. President, but most of the foreign trips are luxury. They are not necessary. What is even the worries of most of Nigeria is the new era of poverty and hunger and underdevelopment. When the economy is not flourishing, people are not making progress. They have to, Mr. President, should stop the legality. They should immediately address the issue of energy poverty, crash the price of fuel, let internal economy flourish. Businesses, trade, investment will continue. It is not easy. They can stay in their fatherland, but there are some trips where in a global world, if a minister or a delegate of another country come to your country, you must show similarity. You must pay a return visit. So it's necessary for some. And in a time of collaboration, maybe in other aspects of our national life, which will lack expertise, we must go. That is my take.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay. He says, even the foreign trips, are they necessary at all? In the first 7 months of President Tinubu's administration, a total of 16 foreign trips were undertaken to France, United States, the UK, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Kenya, Guinea-Bissau, amongst other countries. And these are trips made by our president and the vice president in the span of 91 days. That's the total number of days spent on these trips. Of course, you can imagine what the costs are like for this. But there's a ban in place now. Let's see how it works. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, Somi.
Good afternoon, welcome.
Me here from AYA.
Good to have you here, sir. Go ahead.
You see, I find it so difficult to believe when somebody in power or president says something, he's not doing it. It's not up to 1 week or 2 weeks the president went for just Niger State here. Come and see the convoy. Just Niger State here. So what are you talking? As soon as you are not doing what you want others to do, how can it work? You are giving directives to others, but you are not doing it. It cannot work. Charity begins at home. You have to show by example. all of us is in Nigeria. We know what is happening. We are the citizens of this country. We see other presidents or other officials in their country. If they are moving, you find out you will not even discriminate who is the president and who is this. But why is it that in our own they want to show? And all those things is taxpayer money. Then we used to do better things. They are using to blow. At the end of the day, they say economy is back.
All right.
Who are the people doing it? It's them officials.
Okay.
I beg.
Thank you so much for your contribution, sir. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Somi.
Welcome, sir. How are you doing? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Thomas from Conference.
Go ahead, please.
My take is about the president to ban the politics. It's not the problem. It's not our problem. Our problem is to finish this economy that is covering, biting everybody in the country. Our problem is to secure the country from the bandits and the problem we are facing. It's what you say that every time you say that you talk something, you will not follow it to do it. When you travel to another state, or you want to follow it now, you take a lot of people along with yourself. You have violated the thing many times. So it's not that one is our problem. So our problem is to fix the economy of the country. We never talk how to fix the country. He's talking about the president. Let me not play politics of Lagos State to Nigeria. Please, let me focus what you want to do. We cannot do anything. Let me resign, please.
Okay. Quick question, sir. When I mean, you're not the first person that has said this, but you're here. So let me ask you: when we keep saying that's not our problem, you mentioned that we're having economic issues and you should focus on that. Reducing the cost of governance, don't you think it will help in making more resources available, at least for us to now look at economic improvement?
Because you're not before this country to work, you able to do anything. Which law is passed? You know that when you come here, there is corruption in your bank. And the problem we face the country is the corruption. Why you not pass a law? Let them make them pass a law of corruption. They put a penalty to this corruption issue so that they stop it.
Okay.
When they stop corruption, they see everything will fall apart. Everything. When you just put a penalty for corruption now today.
Okay.
Serious warning and anything immediately, everything will fall into.
All right, thank you.
Because people will see that when you corrupt, there will be Paris code, there will be this penalty.
Thank you very much, sir.
You know that you have a law, but what is the penalty of the law?
All right. Thank you for that. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, can you hear me? Okay. So the line is not clear. Could you please call me back on our other line so that we can hear from you? All right, it's 07009510000 080-959-74869 and 080-999-30137. Welcome to Nigeria Info. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good to have you here, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I remain Justice of Peace.
Good to have you here. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, ma. You started the program and in fact, for me, you end it all. When you put the first condition, he breaks the condition. He broke the rules. In some way, to me, just as one of our callers said, a leader must live by example. To me, only president to go to mosque and vice president to go to mosque. We know how many convoy that follows him to mosque, then to go and pray and come back. If his son is going to club, they used to shut down Wuse 2. You see cars is going to club to groove. Ma is a very good one if he is to cut his own first. Because if you check how many cars that followed him to mosque and how many fuel they use, drivers and everything, you know that is at a high price. Just as we said, most of those foreign trips that our officials go to, They don't just go to it. They use it. In fact, whenever they are appointed, they see opportunity of fulfilling their long-time dreams in life to travel to every country they wish to ever travel, to get visa to every country they wish to ever get.
Okay.
And by so doing, they have a lot of benefit from the journey. When he live by example, others will follow suit.
Okay.
Let me stop there.
Okay, then. Thank you very much for your thoughts on that. All right, let's take some more calls and then we'll get to the messages. Good afternoon.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon.
Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Abdul calling from Maitama. Actually, on the respect of the banning of 3 months, to me, it doesn't make sense completely. It's waste of time and deceiving Nigerian people. Because these people, they are the ones that put Nigeria into this hardship we are facing with the lack of resources in circulation.
Which people? When you say these people, who are you referring to?
The government, they are the cause of the problem of what we are facing. Stopping ministers or senators to go outside, the time they are going, we may not even know. The question is, let them take back the subsidy where it is, to see whether people will complain again. These are the realities. Let me give you an instance. Somebody is sitting in Mararaba, they are paying him 30,000 or 40,000 as a cleaner in one ministry of the government parastatal. How much is he going to clean and how much is he going to pay his own transport money or house rent? How much is he going to use to buy food? These are the things we are talking about. All those things they are doing, they are just wasting time. We are not interested of all these things. We want to see citizens being okay, taking good care of themselves with the affordability of the items in the market and the affordability from the transportation.
All right,
this is what we wanted to see. Thank you very much.
All right, then. Thank you so much. I must say, though, quite a number of callers and contributions have said this is not what we want. Is this a step in the right direction? Can we acknowledge that this is a step in the right direction at first? Yes, I know that there is the conversation around why 3 months, why not longer, why is this not an indefinite thing? There is that consideration, but don't we think that even a 3-month cutting down of this cost will help us to some extent? Mr. President himself says part of the reason why he considered this is, he's looking at the rising cost of travel expenses borne by the MDAs, as well as the growing need for cabinet members and heads of MDAs to focus on their respective mandates for effective service delivery. That means that some of them do take some of these trips, even though they're not necessary. Perhaps there's also that thing of, it depends on the cadre or the level of the official who's going. So if there's some trips that can be that maybe the heads of the departments and all that don't need to take, so that there's also reduction in cost, it's a step in the right direction. Yes, no? Let's take some more calls. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, Somi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to the listeners and callers of this great radio station.
Welcome, sir.
From Gwagwalada and Justice of Peace. My name is Salasi.
Okay.
This time around, I would say it's good. I'm in support of the government for cutting the cost. Just like what some people have said, leadership by example. I remember the former president of Tanzania, late John Magufuli. At that time, they were in crisis. They need money. He wanted to borrow money from the Chinese government. So they promised to offer him $10 billion. And the agreement was that they are going to concession their international airport of Dar es Salaam for 99 years. Do you know what the president said? He said they are not going to collect that loan. And they are not going to travel out, even for medical treatment. He said all the Tanzanians should remain in Tanzania and treat themselves in Tanzania. Do you remember the president of Zambia? The same president of Zambia, they are talking of cutting costs. When they offer him some bills to pay for new SUVs, he said, for what? You know, as a new president now, he said, what happened to the old vehicles? If there's nothing wrong with the vehicle, he said, I'm going to use the former president vehicle. You see, he took the step of cutting costs. So if this government will try that, we want to see that happening. Say, this is what is happening. We are cutting costs. And most of the officials, except the one that maybe the country send the payment of everything, then they can be able, the person will even get, we hear that.
All right,
have to get the approval from the president in 2 weeks before you go embark on that journey. So that's how it's supposed to be. So we are waiting to see how it will be. So I commend the president for that. Thank you.
All right, this ban takes effect 1st of April. That means it's going to be in effect April, May, and June. And then we will definitely be looking at what happens after June. Ambik from Gwagwalada says the ban on government officials from foreign trips is just lip service and playing to the gallery. The reason being that there is no stipulated, well spelled out sanction for violation. Ambik says, so he's certain the order will be violated and the presidency will come out with an alibi to rationalize and explain it away. Just like in the order of entourage escorting the president in foreign trips, which was pegged at 20 persons. But the president went with over 30 persons, including his two sons, Shiri and Yinka Tinubu, who were in the forefront ahead of appointed government delegates. So talking the talk and not walking the walk is the seat, which is another form of corruption. Hafsat, I see you. Thank you for your message. Aliyu Garkida says, well done, Somi. Most of the time, our government will say something, but they will not implement it. I am not believing them at all. There's no truth in our government officials. Well, Aliyu says there's no truth. That still remains to be seen. We must give the benefit of doubt and see what happens in this 3 months, I believe. Daniel Tayela sending us this message on Facebook. By the way, we're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. It's Nigeria Info FM Abuja, so you can send us your messages there as well. Daniel has done that. He says, good day, Somi. Increasing judiciary salary and leaving poor civil servants that receive peanuts is a gross injustice of human slavery to the people of Nigeria. If you know, then you will understand. He sends this message from Crew to Phase 5, Abuja. Increasing judiciary salary. Okay, we will get to that conversation. Thank you, Adan Lami Anyadalo, for your compliment. He says he's a regular listener. Thank you for that. Hello, Somi. Good afternoon. How is work? Glad to meet you online for the first time. Stephen Olong Iberi from Central Area, Abuja. It's my pleasure as well. Thank you so much for staying with 95.1 Nigeria Info. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good to have you here, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Monday, calling from Wusetu.
Go ahead.
Yeah, talking the cost of, cutting the cost of government. If our president is really serious about it, where was he when they budget 1.5 billion naira to buy first lady car? What about those cars? Are they not useful? Why is he not attending Nigerian hospital and then he's running to France or Germany? It's part of it. When he went there and saw the GC, he can put them in order. And people, that's why whenever I hear they say Tinubu build Lagos, if he build Lagos, is he attending Lagos hospital? And what are they fooling? They need to lead by example, not telling your followers this is what they want. Then you go and do a different thing. You lead by example. That's what we're looking for. Before, African countries used to come for medical tourism in Nigeria, but today is Nigeria going out. Doesn't make sense. Thank you. Have a nice celebration.
All right, thank you very much. Well, let's toe the line from one message that came in here about saying that the reason why this seems like just paying lip service is possibly, according to this writer, because they haven't stipulated sanctions for violations of these things, and that gives room for people to, some of these officials to indeed flaunt it. Well, I guess when you look at the fact that there's room for certain exceptions, because it was stated there that should they have the need to travel, so it's not a complete ban. It says that there's room for exceptions. It will be, it will be tabled and looked at. And then when they table it, they take a look at it, having submitted that approval 2 weeks before, then there's a chance that they might be able to go. So when you have that in place, I believe that removes any need for anyone to violate it. But then again, this is me just talking. It depends on the ability, like I think the writer said, to be able to call to account anybody who does actually violate it. Now, let's even look at the room for exceptions that we're given, right? It says, according to the letter, exemption will be given to trips deemed absolutely necessary. And I believe this is where we would require a bit more clarity. What is an absolutely necessary trip? What are the criteria that deem a trip absolutely necessary? Perhaps if it's clearly spelled out, then, the people can know when, they have actually... if approval is given to such trips, then the people, the taxpayers who are funding a lot of these trips, frankly speaking, will be able to say, okay, yes, indeed, it was absolutely necessary, right? So that's another area that perhaps needs to be clearly stated. It needs to be clearly stated because, yes, there is the talk about reducing cost of governance, but to what extent? Is it to an extent that the Nigerian people will find to be reasonable enough? Whether or not there are violations, it has to be clearly stated what actions will be taken if these things are violated.
Let's talk about the biggest conversations made of trustworthy ideas, passionately connected to everyone. Let's talk on Nigeria Info 95.1 Abuja.
Hi everyone, my name is Swat. That's the name my father gave me, but you can always call me Her Vocal Majesty. I'm the host of The Sunny Side on 95.1 Nigeria Info. It takes place every weekday, noon to 3 p.m., where we get to have all the lovely contemporary conversations. If your days are normally long and gloomy, well, not anymore, because I'm here to make it all bright and sunny for you. So join me. It's an invitation. You don't want to miss out.
Audio Jungle.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
I hope the network is good now. Good afternoon.
I believe I can hear you clearly.
Thank you. I greet all the previous callers.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
This Adeomi calling.
Go ahead.
Thank you. On the issue of Mr. President order, I would like him to walk the talk and to follow this. He has said that before. We didn't see anything pertaining that. All those who are working with the government, they are not listening because they know that nothing will happen. Even the last trip that President went, almost 32 of them was the one who followed him. I would like to use this medium to advise Mr. President, don't listen to those who are advising you. Few of them, they'll be telling you that those who are complaining are those who lost election, just like what one of your senior colleagues said it. And which is true, he advised Mr. President, and I would like him to listen. Because if you do well, you don't need to campaign for second term. Because those who are your enemies, a lot of people who are criticizing you, if you do good, they will not have anything to say against you. Because Nigeria, we know we are daft, but not every one of us that are so daft. There's some aspect that we know those who are criticizing based on maybe because of their candidate, some criticizing based on religion or tribe. But if you do the needful, everybody will see.
Okay.
So you can have change of mind that you are doing the needful. Please, Mr. President, for what we talk, all this traveling that you are taking your children abroad together, you are not a poor man, we know. But this thing is not like somebody who never seen money before. You are behaving like that. People are suffering. That's why everybody is complaining. Look at my too. I know during previous government when I criticized Mr. President, he always angry. But today I'm angry too because you are not doing the right thing.
Thank you very much, sir.
Need food. Let every one of us see the impact. We are not feeling it. Today, for me, I would like to tell you something when I have the time.
Okay, not now. Not now.
There is somewhere in my stomach campaign office.
All right, sir. I apologize, but you've exhausted your time. So we need to make room for other callers, okay? We do have a few messages here. Let's go through them as well. I see Anselm Amunike sends this one in. He says, why do they want to stop ministers from traveling? That's a very important question he asked there. Why do they want to stop ministers from traveling? Well, the president has said it's a cost-cutting measure, Anselm. He also asked, what's the state of the Oronsaye report? And goes on to bring a matter that we cannot treat at this time. Definitely, when we have a relationship expert, Anselm will get into that. Somi, good afternoon. In fact, I don't really believe our political leaders, Chief Onovo from Kubwa says, because they don't do what they say. If our president lives by example and then enforces it to other politicians, it will definitely work out right. Not only to mention that some sectors not to travel out of the country for 3 months. I wonder, is that a sign of cost cutting by suspending trips of some office holders? With this is not enough. President Tinubu, you should do the needful before it will be too late. But he didn't say some sectors. It's all officials across the MDAs, the ministers, departments, and the agencies. I'm not quite sure what you mean by some sectors. Hello? Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Gabriel Covenant.
Okay, go ahead.
So after 3 months now, we'll now go back to where we stopped, right?
Again, it's not clear.
Plan, right?
It's not clear if they will continue it or not. It's not clear. It wasn't stated.
Okay. You know, we all know how to cut costs in Nigeria. No, it's not by banning some people for 3 months and give the banner. You still have the privilege or right to still go anywhere you want to go to. I get it. If you want to cut costs, then let me not teach to if you don't know what cutting costs is. Go to National Assembly, call down their budget. 1, 2, call down your own budget within the executive. That is cutting costs. Then secondly, we bring back see, there's no game in Nigeria because we pay virtually for everything. I get it. So bring back first subsidy. If you now start talking about cutting costs, we now start hitting it. But now.
So you're saying that this ban is not necessary. They should go ahead and continue to travel.
Wait, the cutting costs. How will it affect Nigerians? How? If you want to come to go to National Assembly first, then start with the executive. These two places, if you tell them that you are cutting costs, fine, we cannot hear you.
Okay.
But for 3 months or maybe selected executive, are you getting that?
All right then.
If you have any effect.
Okay.
So start with the executive and the legislation. Fine. We'll now start kind of thanking you for cutting costs.
Thank you very much.
For now.
All right. Speaking of actually acting out in terms of what we say we do, our troops seem to be making some headway when it comes to stemming the rising wave of insecurity. A story that just broke now says in collaboration with the vigilantes, Nigerian army troops have killed a dangerous terrorist who has been masquerading as a police officer in Sokoto State. The Director, Army Public Relations, Major General Onyema Nwachukwu, while disclosing this, added that the terror kingpin, who was killed on yesterday, being the 20th of March 2024, had often disguised himself to deceive and kidnap unsuspecting victims. The Army spokesman said that the unnamed terrorist was eliminated in a sting operation following credible intelligence during a gun battle with the troops. According to General Nwachukwu, the troops also uncovered and destroyed a house used as a covered facility by insurgent kingpins to store drugs and administer treatments to wounded insurgents. We also have news coming out from a separate counter-insurgency operation in Taraba State, where the statement said troops neutralized another terrorist in Kutoko village in Takum local government area of the state. One AK-47 rifle and a magazine containing 4 live rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition were also recovered during this encounter. One must commend the efforts of our troops in those areas. We're hoping to see also more of these kinds of neutralizing, if we were to call it that, going on in other parts where especially kidnapping is very, very rife. Parts of the north central state, especially Kaduna State, have been experiencing back-to-back waves of kidnapping, and hoping that we're seeing that there as well. And also begs the question, how could a sole police officer, or someone masquerading as a police officer, be operating on his own, right? So there was no news of other people who he was apprehended with or neutralized with. Is it possible that you could have had one person masquerading as a police officer in the state and there was no form of collusion? Nobody noticed he was operating, wearing police uniform and all of that, and operating freely. Other security operatives didn't take note. Well, we know that they acted based off intelligence, but I do believe that a lot more can be done regarding that investigation to fish out any possible collusion that will have gone on to enable this person, this unscrupulous element, to operate freely for as long as he did. Let's go back to the phone lines. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm excellent, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Haruna. That's the name my father gave me.
Good to have you here, sir. Go ahead.
The question why they ask every time, those terrorists, are they spirits?
Are they what?
Are they spirits?
Why do you ask?
I don't want to answer that question. Are they spirits? Are they a human being like us?
I really can't say, Haruna. Perhaps you can enlighten me if you have the information.
They are not spirits. They are human beings like us. Are you getting me? What is the work of state SSS? What is the work of NIS? So all those people, they are supposed to investigate to catch those people. It's a sport thing. Like what this one where they have somebody see the plane pay the police. They one day why I travel to Lagos. Say if officer don't inside motor, then if it was say officer one bear, they will clear the road for her. So this guy now put cap of police. They are not the police, so they just stop our motor. When they stop her, they say, officer is which officer, come down. Let's see your hair. You can't wear cap. Wear your ID card. You cannot present anything. So those are the areas they would do investigation on the ground. See, if the policemen and soldier man, they have SS. They have the people intelligence. Police, they have intelligence. Let's just join them together. Before anything will happen for town, there is what we call international, what do you call it? Oh, I don't forget. There must be a sign. There must be something that will show that those people are going to attack so place. But there's nothing like that now. Imagine in the afternoon around 11 o'clock, some troop went to a school to pick 200 and something.
All right, sir. Okay, then. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Too many cases of people masquerading as our security operatives. There is a certain level of audacity that they have. Let me say it as the defense headquarters tweet put in and then further deleted. The audacity that they have to operate masquerading as security operatives is cause for concern. Well, there was credible intelligence that led to the apprehension, or rather the neutralization of this particular dangerous terrorist who had been masquerading. Not a lot of information other than what happened that led to the neutralization. It said there was a gun battle with the troops, and that's what led to that. But there's not a lot. We believe that more investigation will still go on, not just to identify, who this person is. There's a span of operation. There's a scope operation of operation that he's had, and then there are possible people that he was colluding with. He can't just have been operating by himself and being able to do as much damage as he did. Well, so again, once more, kudos to our troops for doing that, and we hope to see more results coming in that area. All right, let's see what the messages are saying. Okay, somebody's wondering why they're hearing my voice on the afternoon. It is well. Let's just leave it at that for now. All right, on Facebook, we have more messages. Also, Francis Namani watching live from Amagunze in Enugu State. Thank you so much. He says it's a throwback Thursday. Share with me, what are you throwing back today? Moses Isaac from Kwali, good afternoon. Somi, he says, I said concerning the ban, he said this is lip service. Why 3 months? Why not indefinitely? What next after the 3 months? Who will bail the cat, he says. Even Mr. President will not abide by it. Again, we have to watch and see. Good afternoon. Praise King from Suleja sent in this one. He says, I just hope this is not another audio policy that would not come to the limelight. This is a welcome development. He says, at least we should start from somewhere. Well, thank you so much for the compliment. Praise King. I have Andrew Okpenge watching live from Federal University of Technology in Mina. Thank you so much also for staying with us. All right, we still have a few more minutes to take some contributions. I've shared 3 stories so far. Obviously, the biggest one being the ban by President Tinubu on foreign trips for officials of the MDAs. I've also shared the story on Lassa fever. Not a lot of people commenting on that, but quite a number of deaths reported there. So it's okay if you don't want to say anything, but just make sure that you're taking the necessary precautions, okay? In the 9 weeks that the NCDC has been on this, they've recorded 682 confirmed cases and 128 deaths. And that reports a case fatality rate, of 18.8%. And we have quite a number of states affected, including states like Kogi, Kaduna, close by to us here in the FCT. Just in case you're thinking is far away from you, not so much. We also have quite a number of states in the southwest. As a matter of fact, Ondo, Edo and Bauchi State have reported the highest percentage, 62% of all the confirmed cases, while the rest were spread out amongst other states, which include Oyo, Rivers, Anambra, Adamawa, and the likes. And then also the story about our troops who have killed a terrorist who was posing as a police officer in Sokoto State. Those are the stories that we've shared at this time. It's 07009510000. 08095974869 and 08099930137 if you want to make any more contributions. All right, so let's go back to that the biggest story, obviously, from the time. A lot of people have made reference to the fact that if our president can, live by example, then we would have some gains in that area. And whether we like it or not, it is a method of cutting down costs. It may not be the one that gives us the highest results, so to speak, but a little step in the right direction is a big step, if you ask me. And so it all comes down to the ability of our president to, be the leader, show example, and then also be able to take to task any officials who violate it. The ban also made room for exceptions, right? So it's okay because you can't ban all of them completely, I believe, if we're a serious country, to be honest. But it's the manner in which those trips are taken that can be addressed. So even in the cases where they're applying for exceptions, because conditions have been given where exceptions can be granted, it is important that we still, even with those exceptions, cut down as much as possible. There are some trips that you don't necessarily need to have the heads of the agencies. And correct me, I might be wrong, because I'm not quite sure. I don't have all the details on how, the civil service works. But I believe what they call ESTA code, I believe that's what applies. It differs per level. So there's some things that you have even more knowledgeable hands within the service, of these ministries, departments, or agencies. A person, 2 people can undertake these trips, and they don't necessarily need to be at the highest levels. But what you have is you have the person at the highest level, and then you have 2 or 3 people who will be the actual ones contributing to the conversation. And I'm not saying that happens in all cases, but then it just cuts down on the number, okay? We have a few more calls. Let's take them. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Mrs. Apeno Somi.
Good afternoon. You called the name you fool. Yes. Thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
All right, this is Omos Tayo meeting you from Galadima this afternoon.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you so much. All protocols duly observed. Apeno Somima, you see this issue of the government coming out to make statements of them cutting off foreign trips or whatsoever for ministers for just 3 months. Of course, after 3 months, we beg to ask you to know what the answer will be after 3 months. What happens? You see, a government that is ready to serve its people will come out determined. They must have thought. It's not enough for you to just give temporary statements. You must have thought out this thing is not the first time that such statement is being made about cutting down the cost of government from the entourage of the presidency.
Yes.
The spokesperson, Ajuri Ngelale, the other time,
January
said the same thing. Since then, they didn't cut it till now, but they said they were going to cut it down. They even brought out a list and all of that. Cutting down the start of the president, his wife, the vice president, his wife, and all of that. Till now, they didn't take it up. He still brings us. Look, a president that knows what he's doing. Why can you make one statement 2 times, yet it has not been upheld?
Well, it's
not a president.
Okay.
Does it show that he has the capacity? Does it show that he is the one in charge?
All right, Omotayo.
No.
I hear you, Omotayo.
Yeah.
So, a few clarifications. This is an updated statement on the cost of on the cutting down cost of governance thing. In January, what it was said was that he was reducing his travel detail. Right now, he has shifted from himself. And this is not about the presidency now. This is officials of the ministries, departments, and agencies. So he's not making one statement twice. What I know that we would question is even that directive that came out in January regarding his own detail, whether it was adhered to. I think that just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, yes. So how long? For how long? This is a president that was ready for the job before he came. For how long? Is it not enough for you to have made this pronunciation at the same time when the other one came out? Okay, let's assume that, you are actually looking into it. Now, look, let me tell you, there are ministers, there are a lot of these things. Let's not even stop. Let's stop beating around the bush. There are a lot of people that will still go against this rule. And, come on.
Right,
come on. The spending in government is too much. Just forget it.
Right.
And let him not use this talk of this kind to divert our attention. A lot is happening in this country that he needs to attend to first.
Okay.
Let's not put the cart before the horse. Let's put what is more important to us first in front. Insecurity is the problem.
All right then. Thank you.
Hunger can actually be alleviated from the people. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. I dare say we can be a bit of a difficult people to please, and that's not saying that what anybody has said is wrong. I'm just saying this because, first and foremost, what would it be like if you had a leadership or a government that was only attending to one thing amidst the myriad of problems that we have? Do you understand what I'm saying? So, like I said, and here's my thought on this: it is a little step. Perhaps it could be tweaked so that people can say, okay, yes, it's going to be very efficient. This ban that you're putting in place, for instance, 3 months is quite a short period of time. Someone has asked, why not indefinitely, right? Since there's room for exceptions, right? Why not indefinitely? So that you can now treat the exceptions, as they come. Why 3 months? And there's just a lot of room for interpretation when the letter that was put out does not say what happens after that 3 months. So yes, we are watching. Yes, we're listening. But to say that this is not what we need, because a number of people have said that, to say this is not what we need, I feel like it's going to reduce it. However little, it's going to reduce it. So what do you think? Let's see how we can tweak it, make it more efficient, but let's not turn it down completely. Yes, there are issues of burning importance, and that's why I had to bring up the news about, some of the gains that are being made by security operatives. We've had cases of kidnapping where, whether by way of negotiation or by way of the security operatives just being on top of the situation, we have been able to see maybe some people rescued. Again, it's always a question of what are the results in the face of the challenges, right? But let's also, be a more, how would I put this now? Let's also recognize where little gains are being made, okay? We are definitely going to keep our eye on the ground regarding this particular ban to see what happens after the 3 months. And even in the course of the 3 months, to see whether, people are going to violate it and what is done to violators. Because as someone rightly said, these things were not clearly spelt out. But let's give room for them to implement before we throw it out completely. Let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater. I believe that's how it's said. All right, I will take 2 more calls, a few more messages, and we will bring our conversation for this hour to a close. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sister. Well done.
Welcome, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Patrick calling from Mapo.
Go ahead, sir.
So, just as we are saying, the policy or the directive that the president, gave regarding suspension of foreign trips for 3 months, I think it's the right step in the right direction. But it is not enough. If you may permit me to say that one, it is not enough. There are so many areas where we have leakages, where we have wastages, where we have privilities, where our government officials are behaving as that money they are spending is their personal money. You get the point? There are so many areas, and the government is saying, no, where all these wastages and leakages, are coming from. Even at the executive level, if you know what is going on in various government houses, most especially federal level, you will know that there are so many areas where government is still wasting money. What are we doing with almost something corporate, of the VP or the president or even governors of a state going around burning fuel when we know this thing is very expensive? What are we doing with that?
Okay.
How are we cutting that cost? If you know how much they spend in maintaining various state houses and what they call liaison offices in Abuja here,
all right,
these are the areas where government is wasting resources. And they know. They're banning trip for 3 months. I don't think it's enough. They should do more than that. Nigerians are wiser, and we are watching. We cannot continue with the reckless way government is behaving, and we think the economy is improved.
All right, then. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Tajuddin, for that. Indeed, there is room for more to be done. So we will continue to call out those areas. They will continue to call out those areas. I think the message here is don't throw out anyone just because you think that it's not efficient enough. We will call for a lot to be done. So, for instance, in the case of this ban, 3 months, it doesn't really say much, to be honest. So we will call for it to be moved to indefinitely. I think I've said that. As long as there's room for exception. Where there is a danger is where you call for it to be indefinite, and then you completely do away with the merits of some of these trips, right? So there's room for exception. The most important thing is let every aspect of what has been said in this letter be followed to a T, okay? And then take to task anyone who violates it. Let's see. I thought I was going to get my last caller, but that call didn't come in. So let me take the messages and we will call it an afternoon on this segment of the show. Good afternoon, Somi, married from Yanya. He says, giving 3 months ban on foreign policy is not going to solve anything from our problems. One can stay for 3 months without traveling, but what happens after that? The president should focus on one thing, achieve it, then move to the next. Okay. Good afternoon. Jairus from Maitama says it's a good policy in the right direction if it can be sustained. And that's what we're calling for at the end of the day. Engineer Francis from Duce says, our leaders are like motivational speakers who speak to hype their audience and do nothing to actualize what they say. Right. And you're asking the full name. Yes, it is Apenosomi. Apenosomi. Somi for short. I believe that answers your question, Engineer Francis from Duce. And this brings our conversation for the hour to a close. Thank you so much to everyone who has been a part of this. We are coming back at 2:00 with what's trending. And then after that, we'll be having our conversation on Down syndrome. So even if you have to leave the stream, which is ending in a few minutes, be sure to stay with 95.1 Nigeria Info. Somi will be here taking you when we come back up until 3:00. We actually have some guests who'll be joining us in the 2:30. So let's see what we can do when we get back with the conversation. It's 95.1 Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
This is Nigeria Info.